Is Kanye West anti-Semitic? I don't know. We'll discuss. Kidding. I know he's definitely anti-Semitic. That's not the question. The question is this spreading to others, and how much damage has it done? We're going to bring in Elad Nehorai here. He's a writer specializing in extremism and anti-Semitism. Elad, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
No problem. So I saw a great Twitter thread that you had about this. In case people don't remember and they've been living under a rock, I'm going to show Kanye one of Kanye's clips, and then we'll have you react. Okay?
Biting my tongue on my political opinion because I thought it would be better for my children. And now you look up and my kids are going to a school that teaches black kids a complicated Kwanzaa. I prefer my kids knew Hanukkah than Kwanzaa. At least it will come with some financial engineering.
Okay, a lot that doesn't seem subtle. So right wing will debate anything, but is that anti-Semitic?
Yes, and I think it's interesting because I've noticed that even people who are sympathetic and understand that it's anti-Semitic can have difficulty understanding exactly in what way. What does he mean by financial engineering? Does it just mean they're good with money? That alone is already anti-Semitic. But what we're really talking about is someone who's convinced that Jews are in control of the economy, in control of the media, classic, overt, full-on anti-Semitism. So I think it's really important that we distinguish between him saying something that's like semi-philo-Semitic and anti-Semitic versus full-on white nationalist, Nazi-esque version of anti-Semitism, which is what we're hearing here.
Yeah, and so I want to get into the distinction between him and Lara Logan in a second. We're going to bring Trump into it because he weighed in. But first, about that clip, did Tucker run that whole clip on his show?
No, he cut it, and he very clearly cut it on purpose because there's another scene where that was aired, where it was very subtle. At the time I called it out, and I remember very few people kind of responding to it, except for the kind of people that were already tuned into this kind of thing, where he was talking about Kushner, and he was saying, and then he kind of switched his wording very subtly, which is a very common anti-Semitic trope, where he went from talking about Kushner specifically to suddenly saying they, and he specifically said they only care about money. Now, if you were only watching that part of the interview, it's understandable why you might be confused and think it's not anti-Semitic. He's just talking about the Kushners. I definitely agree that the Kushners are doing things just for the money. But the problem is that in anti-Semitic rhetoric, you very often will take kind of a one Jew as an example and then apply it to Jews as a whole, which is exactly what happened. And what Tucker Carlson did, which was classic Tucker Carlson, he's been doing this for years, this isn't new. He cut out the parts that would get him in trouble, that were overtly anti-Semitic, and he went out of his way to keep the part that was subtly anti-Semitic. This is what Tucker Carlson has been doing for most of his career. He's been doing it more and more overtly for years. And this was kind of the first time where we got to see a little bit behind the scenes in the way that he works, where he knows what he's doing. He knows it's anti-Semitic, and he's making sure to keep anti-Semitism while also pretending like it's not there.
So guys, this is actually really important. And actually, we're gonna go to our second video here because it's actually what Elad is describing there. The reason I'm gonna run this video for you guys is, one, you get the sense of what Elad was talking about, but two, listen carefully what Tucker Carlson says in the middle, and I'm gonna tell you the chronology of events that is so relevant here. Listen to Tucker here, watch.
All of these things that Jared, somehow doesn't get enough credit for with his work. And what is it? His work in Israel or his work in Palestine? What is this? You know where he made these peace treaties? Where was that? Do you know the facts on this right here? So I'm like,
well, I think that was between Israel and some of the Arab nations.
I just think it was to make money. I don't know. Is that too heavy-handed to put in this platform?
No, that's your opinion. We're not in the censorship business.
Okay, thank you. And I just think that that's what they're about, is making money. I don't think that they have the ability to make anything on their own. I think they were born into money.
He said, we're not in the censorship business. We'll run what you say. But they took out the part about the financial engineering related to Hanukkah. So apparently they are in that business. But they left in the other potentially anti-Semitic parts, but that were more dog whistles. And Elad, I actually got that from your Twitter thread. That was the first time I was like, yes, that's right, right? And then if you remember, Elad, Kanye did not get in trouble for the Tucker Carlson interview. He got in trouble after the Tucker Carlson interview, right? And so that chronology matters a lot because Tucker already knew he was anti-Semitic. And I remember the intro to that segment too. He's like, or he said later, they called Kanye anti-Semitic, but we didn't see anything like that when we interviewed him. And he left that part out. Doesn't that just tell you everything you need to know about Tucker Carlson?
Everything, yeah. I mean, in some bizarre, weird way, I'm almost not really, but in a way thankful that Kanye is kind of out of control, because what ended up happening was Tucker Carlson thought he could control Kanye. And what ended up happening was that Kanye didn't let him. The next day, he started posting on Instagram really anti-Semitic things. Then he posted on Twitter after he got blocked on Instagram. And he just would not hide that he was very clearly, overtly, hatefully anti-Semitic. And this was kind of one of those times where Tucker Carlson's tricks didn't really work in that sense. And unfortunately, his audience is probably not going to see that side of things, but at least we can.
Yeah, there's no question. He knew for a fact before the news story broke that Kanye West was deeply anti-Semitic, and he buried it. He did not show it to his audience. He kept a subtle anti-Semitism in to stoke the fires, but took out the harsh one, so it was a dog whistle and not a foghorn. So that's classic Tucker Carlson. So now, but what I'm worried about a lot is that this is not just Kanye. Now it's spreading. Jason Whitlock, another right-wing African-American host, jumped in. You look at the comment section on these videos, they're all like, Kanye's right, he's a hero, etc. Then you had Trump coming in, we'll get to Trump in a second. Then Lara Logan went over the top, and even Newsmax had to say, oh no, we're not having Lara Logan on, even Newsmax. But then that made me think, wait, so she mentioned blood libel, about drinking the blood of, and this is one of the oldest anti-Semitic tropes. It's gotten literally millions of people killed. The idea that Jews drink the blood of Christian children, right? And that is now being repurposed in QAnon, saying the global elites drank the blood of children, right? So Lara Logan said something to that effect on Newsmax, and they said, okay, she's banned, right? But Kanye West is talking about the Jewish media mafia and how the Jews control all the media, etc. Why is he not banned? He's on Piers Morgan. He's on all parts of the media.
Why is Kanye not being banned?
Yeah, like why the difference? Like why? Oh, okay, Lara Logan said the blood libel, so okay, that's a bridge too far. But saying the Jews run all the media is not a bridge too far?
Right. I mean, I think what's very obvious here is that the people who are pushing anti-Semitism on the right, and let's be clear, that is what they're doing. It's not subtle, it's not that they're confused, especially when we're talking about someone like Tucker Carlson, if we're talking about the right-wing media. They know what's going on, they know the tropes, they know what they're getting involved in. And the truth is that what they're doing is what they've done. This is not unique to the Jewish people. What is slightly unique is that anti-Semitism until recently felt like something that was bipartisan, that people were against it on a bipartisan level. Now we're seeing, whether it's racism, homophobia, transphobia, we're seeing not just a move to hateful speech, we're seeing a move from coded to overt. And really what this is about is just about the right-wing media right now essentially deciding how far is too far. And every single day, that line keeps getting crossed a little bit more. And so the question is someone powerful enough or vocal enough, or do they have enough power? Do they have enough of an audience where they can get away with that as well? That's a big part of this as well. Tucker Carlson has a massive audience. And that's why, honestly, again, I want to emphasize this has been happening for years. This is not new. With just a year ago or even less than that, he released a documentary about George Soros saying that he was out to destroy Western civilization. This is something that is spread daily in the right-wing media and among Republican politicians, where you have this classic trope of a puppet master who's controlling everything behind the scenes, a rich Jew, that again, you then apply to all of Jews afterwards. This was the same exact conspiracy theory that led to the Pittsburgh massacre, the Tree of Life synagogue massacre. There was a conspiracy that George Soros was paying for a immigrant caravan to come into the United States. Donald Trump spread this conspiracy. Tucker Carlson spread this conspiracy theory, and eventually a shooter came into a Jewish synagogue that was pro-immigrant and killed more Jews than have ever been killed on American soil in one massacre. This is the same exact conspiracy that is now being spread massively on the right-wing media. So again, it's not new, it's just continuing to evolve so that people become more and more accepting of the rhetoric. But it's always been there.
Yeah, Elad, it's of course also the same conspiracy theory that led to the Holocaust. That Jewish puppet masters, they control the banks, the media, and they drink the blood of children. Same exact propaganda, and it led to that result. And if you think, oh, that's hyperbolic, it is not hyperbolic. That's literally what happened. That's what happened in Germany. And right now, they're literally doing that here. Not the killing yet, except for the Tree of Life synagogue and another synagogue shooting in Southern California. And Elad, if you ask a random Republican, hey, what's the religion of Robert Mercer or Charles Koch? I don't know. If you ask them, what's the religion of George Soros? Jewish, Jews, right? They all know. We interviewed somebody at TYT that was at a Trump rally. He had a giant, it's the biggest back tattoo I've ever seen. It was George Soros as puppet master. They've been training these guys to believe that the Jews are the problem the whole time. So which brings me to Trump. So Trump put out a statement saying that, implying that, I don't want to read the whole thing because it's too long, but that, hey, after all we have done for Israel, the Jews are not grateful, right? No, they're Jewish Americans. They're Americans, right? And no, they don't have to be grateful to you and et cetera. But he's done this 1,000 times. He ran his entire 2016 campaign against the global elites, right? So for a lot, that gets to my question. For a lot of us, if you don't know the anti-Semitic conspiracy theories, et cetera, you hear global elites and you think, well, yeah, I guess there's rich folks in the world and they're across the world. Okay, yeah, there's global elites. But they don't mean global elites. And for the people who are anti-Semitic, when they hear global elites, they know exactly what people are referring to, right? So that's the interesting disconnect there, where they ironically have plausible deniability with people who are not anti-Semitic because we don't understand the code words. But for the anti-Semites, they're like, oh, I know what you're talking about. So, and Elad, how is this confusing? After he said the Charlottesville, literal Nazi march, where they chanted, the Jews will not replace us. And he said there's very good people on both sides. So it's to your point about, will there be a Republican leader that says, no, this is crazy, let's not do this. It appears we have a Republican leader doing the exact opposite. And how troubling is that?
It's deeply troubling. I mean, the fact is, like, as much as I want to say, oh yes, this has been happening for years, the truth is that it's the nature of it has evolved. The nature of it has become more overt. And that to me is extremely worrisome. And it's worrisome not just to me, to experts in extremism, to experts in anti-Semitism, because it means more than just what's happening to Jews. Of course, I care very much about protecting Jews in this moment, but we have to understand that anti-Semitism is not just hate. It's also a way of understanding the world. That's why we tend to refer to them as conspiracy theories. And so what ends up happening is when a society starts to overtly fall into anti-Semitism, as opposed to simply in a coded, dog whistly way, as we've been used to now for a number of years, what we're now experiencing is a transition into more overt fascism, because really anti-Semitism is the language of fascism in many ways. It's the way that you justify taking complete control of a government. It's the way you justify stopping immigration. It's the way you justify a lot of the white nationalist rhetoric that we're seeing in America, the very distinctly white nationalist form of fascism that we've seen in the United States. So as fascism becomes more overt in the United States, anti-Semitism will be more overt, and vice versa. And that means that not just Jews are under threat, but every minority, every non-white Christian male is in danger, because we're really united in this experience, because anti-Semitism is kind of this thread that helps connect all of these different forms of bigotry and turn them into a narrative of conspiratorial control that Jews have in the United States, thus explaining why, for example, immigration is such a problem, or in their minds, and why are black people gaining power in the United States. It can't be that black people, who in their minds are not superior to white people, can somehow be gaining power. It doesn't make sense to someone who is racist. So the way that you explain that is by saying there's a malignant force, all powerful, that is controlling things behind the scenes. And so as you explain it in that way, then number one, your narrative starts to build cohesion. It starts to fall together among different kinds of groups. It also then justifies anything you do in response. And that's really when it gets scary, because now the government, or the people that want to be in charge of the government, are essentially saying they will do whatever they can to stop this deep, dark evil that they see. And that can go very far, as we all know.
No, we're in super dark times. And I've never been this concerned, never, ever, about America. And they've got a third of the country believing in these insane theories. And you're absolutely right. The minute it becomes overt, watch out. That means they're at the doorstep, and they're now willing to say it out loud. And anti-Semitism is kind of like the last part of the puzzle. So Elad, I couldn't agree with you more. Look, it's imperative that we protect our Jewish brothers and sisters, but this isn't just about Jewish folks. Once they're willing to say that, they're willing to say and do anything. It's the last step. So I don't know if Democrats and media in this country have any idea what's going on. I mean, the house is on fire and they're not acting like it at all. So I hope to God that you and I are wrong, but I don't think we are. Very dangerous times in America. Elad Nehorai, he writes about extremism and anti-Semitism. Thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.